So there's a myth that Coca-Cola at one point had cocaine in it, not just the coca leaf, but actual cocaine. But then you hear various versions of this myth / legend. What's the deal with Coca-Cola, the coca leaf, and cocaine?
Yeah, so it's a great old story. John Pemberton was a pharmacist in Atlanta, home of Coca-Cola these days, and developed a formula that contained the coca leaf, extract from the coca leaf, and extract from the cola nut, so Coca-Cola, and put this together, sold it as a tonic. It's an interesting, just a quick segue on soft drinks in general. So soft drinks came about because they weren't hard drinks. So it was an alternative to liquor. So they weren't hard alcohol, they were soft drinks or soft beverages. They also generally had effervescence to them or carbonation. And most of those were available at a pharmacist soda fountain. So 7-Up had lithium in it in the past, and it was, for mind wellness. Pepsi had pepsinogen, which is a digestive peptide in it. Most of the soft drinks, Dr. Pepper was developed by Dr. Pepper in Waco, Texas, and was a special formula that he had come up with for well-being as well. So all these soft drinks have a really cool history, but John Pemberton's story of Coca-Cola was, it goes way back farther than Coca-Cola in terms of putting coca leaf into beverages, but we'll just stick with Coca-Cola. So Coca-Cola definitely had cocaine in it in its original setting. And then as time went on and we realized that cocaine was problematic and addictive, there was pressure for him to take that out of the process. And what they realized was the coca leaf, and many people that chew coca leaf talk about the different varieties that are available within South America and different flavor profiles that are there. Well, the specific one that they use for Coca-Cola has a definitive flavor profile to it. And when they took that out, it lost the flavor that people were used to. And so they decided to keep this in there. And Coca-Cola is still the major importer of coca leaves into the United States to this day. They do it through a company called the Stepan Company in New Jersey. The leaf comes from Peru. It comes from a state-run company in Peru that oversees the production of the coca leaf, comes into this company in New Jersey. They then process the leaf into two parts. So they take all of the cocaine and all of the cocaine metabolites, essentially the alkaloids, right? We talked about these alkaloids. They take the alkaloids out, and that gets sent to a pharmaceutical company, and those are processed into cocaine, which is used as a pharmaceutical still to this day. A lot of people probably don't know this, but cocaine is the best local anesthetic that's ever been discovered. It was the template for all the local anesthetics that we use now, like lidocaine or bupivacaine. It was the template. And it is still the best one that we have. And it's used almost exclusively for nasal and eye surgeries now, where you have to stay awake and you have to be functioning, and we can't intubate you and we can't do these things. So this is the ideal drug. It's also obviously put into lots of drug testing kits and supplies and whatnot for the forensics industries. But what's the fate of what's left, right? Well, that coca leaf extract, the dealkylinated extract, decoconized extract, if you will, is the secret sauce, if you will, for Coca-Cola still. So that is a GRAS substance, GRAS, generally recognized as safe food substance. And that is the flavoring agent that gives Coca-Cola its unique flavor. And there was a period of time, I believe it was in the 80s, where Coca-Cola really wanted to distance itself from the cocaine industry. Cocaine became hugely the drug of choice, sort of drug of abuse. Len Bias, one NBA basketball player, died from an overdose. It just became a very nationally aware drug of abuse, and there was a problem associated with cocaine. And so Coca-Cola said, we're going to cut our ties with the coca plant completely. They came out with this product called New Coke, and it didn't last long because the flavor profile couldn't be replicated to the old Coke. And so indeed they re-upped their sort of contract and have been bringing it in ever since. And to this day, Coca-Cola Classic and Coke Zero are the two products. Interestingly enough, Diet Coke does not taste very much like Coca-Cola original. And a lot of people complained about that for a long time. They got smart and made this product called Coke Zero that has the flavoring agent from the coca plant in it. And lo and behold, everyone started saying, gosh, this tastes a lot more like Coca-Cola does. Well, yeah, it's got the flavoring ingredient in it. And so everybody in the United States almost has had a Coke at one point in time. So you've all had coca-leaf already in your dietary chain. And I think it'll be interesting to see where things develop as we start to do more research, as the World Health Organization reconsiders removing coca-leaf from an international ban and looking at it as a potential product to work into food products and develop further. And so, it supposedly has no abuse potential as the leaf. But again, it's that story of isolating that one alkaloid out and sort of destroying the rest of it forever. However, Coca-Cola was smart enough to keep sort of a monopoly, if you will, on keeping that plant alive in their product. And so it's there. And the next time you have a Coca-Cola or a Coke Zero, just realize that it's got natural product in it.
That's incredible. And I'll keep that in mind the next time I have a Coke Zero. Is there any evidence that what's still retained from the coca plant in Coca-Cola is psychoactive and not just there for flavor?
That's a great question, and that's been debated quite a bit. So the one thing that we know is that probably it is not having any psychoactivity. And the other thing that we know, back to my pharmacy days, we used to sell Coke syrup. So when Coke is sold for fountain beverages, it's the syrup that's then blended with the carbonated water to make Coca-Cola. And that's why a lot of people say Coca-Cola out of a fountain is so much better than out of a can or a bottle, because it is a sort of formulated on the spot product, if you will.
On tap.
Yeah, on tap. And Coke syrup we used to sell out of the pharmacy for nausea and vomiting, particularly in pregnant women, is one of the safest things you could use. And it really calms and settles the GI tract. And this is interesting because one of the big benefits that people report drinking coca tea is that it soothes their GI tract and it calms their GI tract, and it helps them be able to be alert. Of course, the coca tea's got all the alkaloids in it, but that same GI tract benefit is still there, and that's probably what's still remaining within that extract that's now devoid of the alkaloids.
And you are not paid for by Coca-Cola?
No. In fact, we went to Coca-Cola to see if we could work with them on developing some type of medications or something from the coca leaf. And I have a former colleague that is in their natural products division at Coca-Cola, and they said they won't even let us touch the coca extract.
Well, and they've also got all that cocaine that they've pulled out of the coca leaf in this plant in New Jersey. I can only imagine what the security is on this place.
I don't know, but if you you can fact check me on Wikipedia or which is not a great place to fact check, but
you got my agreement there.
But the Stepan company is listed there in New Jersey, and their connection to Coca-Cola and this whole story is actually out there in front of everybody to see. It just takes knowing where to look and find it.
Love it. Last question about soda. Is there still lithium in 7-Up?
No. Lithium has gone from 7-Up. But that was the whole idea, right? Up, mood, lift your mood up. Lithium, and we know lithium carbonate is still used to this day as a treatment for psychoses. So